Perfection. Oh, what's that? Yeah, what? Oh, not again. Oh, get off. Oh, leave me alone. Oh, you trouble me, you are. No.
Dodge!
Leave me.
Dodge!
Leave me.
Dodge! Dodge! You're having a garbage mare.
I thought you were a seagull.
No, I'm just a man. Scottish. Email in cbbc@bbc.co.uk. Tell us what you think about fashion. We'll be seeing you lot right after Blast Lab with Richard Hammond. Do you want to run the network?
Ban fashion. Ban it.
I'll do it. Run network.
Ban fashion.
If you didn't mess about with the equipment, you don't understand how to work a test tube. Why did you pick it up? It won't budge. Hold on. There we go. Job done. Another problem solved. Hello, I'm Richard Hammond, and welcome to my Blast Lab. Two teams of intrepid scientists are about to take each other on in a massive science-off. The winners will get great prizes, and the losers will get, well, jealous of the winners' great prizes. Let's see what we've got lined up. Oliver's after our team's help to filter the false from the true. In fact, now 2.0. In mini science, it's time for a game of hide and seek with a twist. Bored of racing on land, the lab rats get some experts in to race across water. To have fungi with the gungy bungee in the messy mess test. I know an ancient secret when it comes to science lab security systems. In fact, I'm related to it. It is, of course, my Ninja Nan. She's in the Ninja Nanex with the Cobra Squad again. Oh no, an intruder's snuck in and changed the TV channel over during countdown. They hate that. Things could get nasty. Tense. Right, let's have a look and see who's trying to get into my lab today. Hello, so you three claim to be the red team, do you? Right, well, a few security checks. First of all, your names. You are?
Megan! Jasmine! Abby!
Megan, Jasmine, Abby. OK, that checks out. Talent. Abby, what can you do to prove you are who you say you are?
I can twist my hand 360 degrees.
That's what it says here. I thought it was a spelling mistake. Go on, then. Oh, OK, yeah, fair enough. Don't do it again, please. Come into the lab. Come into the lab. That's... What a remarkable ability. Don't ever try it with your head. That's all I'd advise. Welcome to the lab, but only this far. One final check. We agreed a password with the real red team. And if that's you, you'd know what it is, wouldn't you? So what do you think it is?
Shampoo!
Yeah, that's what I've got written down here. Any particular reason, or was this just like a very short shopping list?
We just got out of the swimming pool, and I tried to make Jasmine slip over by spraying shampoo all over the floor. And when I went to go and get my towel, I forgot and slipped over it instead.
Whoa, hang on. So you set a shampoo trap for Jasmine?
Yeah.
And then it went wrong and you fell over?
Yeah.
Oh, good, you see. Well, we'll keep an eye on you in that case in the lab. Play nicely, be careful. Right, go and get settled in, ready for the first game. They are your red team, and they're dangerous, obviously. She did that to her sister. Scary. OK, let's meet the bunch of people who claim to be the yellow team. So, you're the yellow team, are you? Well, we can't be too careful about that. So, let's check for security purposes your names. You are?
Jacob! Leon! Jensen!
Jacob, Leon, Jensen. Yep, fair enough, that checks out. Leon, I've got your name next to talent. What are you going to do for us?
Speak Dutch.
Really? Speaking Dutch? Well, go on, then.
Hallo, hoe gaat het met jou vandaag?
Bless you. Does anyone have a tissue? The poor man has a cold. Was that it?
Yeah.
Well, we wouldn't know otherwise, would we? So, fair enough. Come into the lab. Come in. this far. So, what did you actually say then?
Hello, how are you today?
Really? How would I reply?
I haven't learned that bit yet.
OK, I haven't learned that bit yet. So you've got that far in the exchange.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Right, now, before I let you properly into the lab, because if you look over your shoulders, slowly, you'll see Ninja Nana's still got her eye on you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You make a move further into the lab, she'll spring. So I need one final check from you. We agreed a password with the real yellow team. If you are they, you'll know what it is. What do you think it is?
False teeth!
Yes, it is! Why is it false teeth?
Because once I went on holiday and my mum's got 2 false teeth at the front.
Yeah.
And she was going down the slide and she shouted and they came out and she was chasing down the slide after him.
What, a water slide?
Yeah.
So she chased her 2 false front teeth down a water slide? And you just said that? You'll be really happy you said that. OK, go and get settled in, ready for the first game. There we go! We have a red and a yellow team, and now it's time to meet someone rather special. He's wise beyond his years, but you struggle with his gears. It is Oliver! Let's get him docked up to FactNav, connected, there you go. System up and running. Oh, yeah. Little Oliver. I've actually installed the very latest FactNav 2.0. It's a brilliant system. It's absolutely packed with amazing facts. But here's the thing, you know, when most people say they've installed something, what they really mean is they've got an expert to fit it for them. Now, when I say I installed it, I mean, I really did. I installed it. I actually fitted it, which might have something to do with the fact that it doesn't really work very well. So, teams, I need you to tell me whether the science facts I give you are true or false. If they then turn out to be true, Oliver will do this. When they're false, he'll do this. Each team has 3 lights. At the moment, they're lit red. Every time you give me a correct answer to a question, we will light one of your lights green. The first team to light all 3 lights green wins the game. They take a point and we move on. Hurrah! That's if you get the question right. If you get a question wrong, we light one of the other team's lights green. Does everybody understand the rules?
Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it. So the audience, we all understand the rules. OK, well, your first question is pretty important. It's a nearest to question. I'll give the green light to the team that's nearest to the real answer. This is important because get this one right, you get the first light lit green and you get the first true or false question. So it really matters. You take control of the game. Here it is. How many kilometres is the longest journey ever made on a tractor? Have a chat, have a think. How many kilometres is the longest journey ever made on a tractor? Gonna have to hurry your teams, get an answer written down.
5, 4,
get an answer written
3,
down.
2, 1. Time's up.
Reds, let's have a look. 50 kilometres for the reds. Yellows. 1,000 kilometres. Quite a difference. The real answer is 21,199 kilometres, which means the yellows take it. There you go. I'm sorry, Reds. I know. How ridiculous is that? The journey was actually made by a Russian, Vasily Hazkevich. He made that epic journey between April and August of 2005, 21,199 kilometres. So that means a green light is lit for the yellow team, and you get the first true or false question, so you've taken control of the game. Well done. The inventor of the vacuum cleaner choked on his own invention. Is that true or false? The inventor of the vacuum cleaner choked on his own invention. Don't answer straight away. Have a think. That's good. It's good to see that chatting. You never know what one of you might know. Feed it into your conversation. While you're doing that, let's see what the audience thinks. Vote with your feet. Is it true or false? Let's see. OK. Oh, some last-minute mind-changing going on there.
I think he could because it's very possible and he could have got sucked into it, sort of thing.
Wow, you think he actually vacuumed himself up into it?
Yes.
Wow, I'd love to have seen that if he did. Well, we shall find out shortly. What do you think? You're in the middle at the moment. Which are you going, true or false?
Two. I think he put the vacuum cleaner up near his mouth and then the air got sucked out of him.
Well, we shall find out in just a moment. Back to your places, please. Audience, let's find out what the team thinks. Yellows. The inventor of the vacuum cleaner choked on his own invention. Is that true or false?
False.
False is the answer from the yellow team. Oliver, is it true or false? It's true! I'm sorry, Yellows, it is in fact true. He was called Hubert Cecil Booth, and he was testing his new invention by sucking dirt up through a piece of material using his mouth, and he ended up with a lung full of dust and choked. It was all right, though, if you were worried. He lived to the ripe old age of 83. You don't care right now because it's just cost you a green light. I'm sorry, Yellows. So, Reds, here is your science fact. The distance from Earth to space is shorter than the distance from London to New York. Is that true or false? The distance from Earth to space is shorter than the distance from London to New York. Is that true or false? What do you think?
We think it's false.
You think it's false. Oliver, is it true or false? It's true! It's actually true! That means it's another green light to the Yellows! I'm sorry, Reds. I know, you just think... Space is considered to be about 60 miles from the Earth's surface. That's sort of where it starts, whereas there are 3,500 miles between London and New York. Yellows, here is your science fact. The average person has 10,000 hairs on their head. Do you think that's true or false?
False.
You think that's false? That's what the Yellows think. Oliver, for the game, for the Yellows, this is a decider. Is that true or false? It is false. It is false. That means the third line is lit green for the Yellows. The average person actually has between 100 and 150,000 hairs on their head. Each hair grows by about 12.7 centimetres a year. All of which means that with 3 lights lit green to the 1 for the Reds, the Yellows win that round and take the point. It's 1-0 to the Yellows. A while ago, I invented and built a time machine to bring my old science teacher from school back through time to help out in the lab. And it worked, pretty much. It's just that she came through time as a 10-year-old girl. She wasn't very happy when she got here. In fact, it took her quite a few days to cool down. But that might have been something to do with the fact that I'd broken the thermostat in the time machine and turned it into a sort of time-travelling sauna. Anyway, I'm talking, of course, about Mini Miss!
I'm still not impressed, Richard.
No, I'm sorry. I will get that thermostat fixed, I promise.
You know what I mean, Richard.
Yeah, I'm sorry, miss. Right, let's talk about today's game. What are we doing?
Well, today's game is called...
Hide and seek.
It involves hiding some of Ninja Nan's prized possessions at the bottom of this tank.
Yeah, but won't some of them just float to the top, rather than...
Exactly. And that's what the two teams will have to think about as they take it in turns to choose an object from the pile and then place it in this tank. After all of the items have been used, the team with the most items left floating loses.
Right, so this is about observation, trial and error. That is perfect science.
Except that whenever you do it, there's rather more error than trial and observation.
Oh, yeah, miss, but there was that time, if you remember, when using genetic engineering, I successfully crossed a sheep with a kangaroo.
I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. I made a woolly jumper. No? No? It's suddenly got quite hot in here, isn't it? OK. Right, teams, well, you can have a think about tactics before we do this. Minimis will come and have a chat to you about that. Have a good think before we start playing. So, for something to float, it has to push aside an amount of water or any liquid that weighs as much or more than the object. It has to push it aside. So it's not just about the weight of the object. They also have to think about the shape of it, because that can help define whether or not it will float. If it's going to push aside the amount of water, if it doesn't push aside an amount of water weighing equal or more than it sinks. But of course, if they do manage to push aside an amount of water equal to or more than that, it'll float. But that's bad for our teams, because they want the objects to sink. Got a bit of time to think about it now. Let's get going. OK, teams. Yellows, you're in the lead at the moment, so you can decide if you want to go first or second. What do you want to do?
First.
First. OK, right. Well, in that case, let's get going. Yellows, what are you going to go for, first of all, your first object?
Bin. The bin.
The bin. So it's looking good at first, but it looks as though... Oh, it's a sinker. It's a sinker for the Yellows. Reds, it's your turn now. What you going to go for?
The can.
OK. Away you go. Oh, you can see it's heavy. But... Uh-oh. Oh, it's heavy, but it's floating. I'm sorry, Reds. I'm sorry. No point for you on that go. I'm sorry. Have we decided then, team?
I think the whisk.
The whisk. Right, step up. Give it a go. Oh, straight away an immediate sink. Well done, Yellows. That's 2. Right, Red's having a good old think. Are we all in agreement on this, girls?
Yeah.
OK. Right, you need this one to work. And it's gone in, and it's...
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah, I'd say that's sinking. I'd say that was sunk. 2-1 to the Yellows right now, Yellows. To seal it, you need to get this one right. A choice, obviously. It's a classic choice. Quite a classic conundrum. Wicker basket, garden gnome, lampshade. The gnome.
Yes.
It's one of Ninja Nan's favourites. If she finds you with it, there'll be a whole heap of trouble. OK, step up. Oh. Yep, the gnome is having a swim. The gnome is having a swim. Yeah, that's clearly not sunk, has it? Lab rat, come and remove the gnome from the tank of water, please. So this, then, is a chance for you, at best, to draw, Reds. Get this one right, it's a draw. Get it wrong, it's over. The gnome there, you see, heavy, as the Yellow said, but it was the shape. It could push aside water weighing more than it floated on it. Right, Reds, thought carefully about this, because if you get this one wrong, then the Yellows have won it and they take the next point. So it'll be 2-0 overall. OK, the final choice, the basket. Here it goes. It's in. It's still in. It's still in. It's not going anywhere, that. I'd say that the basket is floating, which can only mean with 2-1 to the Yellows, they take the point. The Yellows win. Well done. I was surprised then to see which objects floated and which ones sank. But I'm never surprised when I see how one object in particular behaves in the water. And that object is the lab rat. Believe me, those things are way too dense to do anything other than sink like a stone.
These lab rats feel they might have come up with a simple solution to the walking on water challenge. They've borrowed an inflatable water ball, have climbed inside and launched themselves onto the water. Well, he's not sinking and he's making some progress, but stop celebrating. He looks silly and, to be honest, it doesn't really count as walking on water. So I've asked an expert to come in and challenge my lab rats to a unique race across the surface of this lake.
Hello, I'm the aqua skipping expert.
It has no motors, no paddles, and nothing to keep it afloat. How does our expert's device work? A water skipper works by using underwater wings, hydrofoils. The skipper is propelled forward by a strange bouncing action. This makes the rear hydrofoil push down and backwards on the water, which in turn thrusts the skipper forwards. If the skipper is bounced forwards fast enough, then the water moving over the hydrofoils will create sufficient lift to help the skipper float. However, if the skipper is bounced too slowly, then the upwards lift will be too small, sending our skipper to a soggy end. OK, so now we know how a water skipper works. What are the rules of the race? The rules are simple. The first one to make it to the island in the middle of the lake wins. So who is going to win? Will it be the water ball or the water skipper?
Hold the experiment right there because there's another point up for grabs here. There's a race going on, so somebody's going to win. And I'll give that point to the team that can tell me which will win the race. Will it be the water skipper or will it be the giant water ball? Two very different approaches to moving over or through the water. The score right now, 2-0 to the Yellows. So, yeah, you can't suddenly overtake, but a point would be nice, would it not? So, Reds, which do you reckon's going to win?
We think the ball.
You think the ball is going to win? Yellows, what do you reckon?
The ball won't move properly because all it does is floats, it won't move. It will take a lot of running to move the ball.
Because although it's floating, it's got to move along, whereas the water...
The ball moves, but it doesn't go, it just stays moving.
So you think the water skipper. So we got ball from the Reds, water skipper from the Yellows. Let's find out.
So everyone is ready. It is raining, so let's just get on with this. 3, 2... hang on, the sneaky little lab rat jumped the gun. The water skipper expert doesn't seem too bothered, though, and he's off. And he is flying across the water. The water ball looks more like a demented hamster than a champion, whilst the water skipper gracefully glides across the surface. Oh, look, he's really showing off now. Surely there's no way he can lose from here. And he doesn't. I think we can safely say lab rats have been put in their place. I mean, an inflatable ball as a means of water transport. Genius. The water skipper then, the clear winner in a race that many say should never have happened. That brings the scores to 3-0 to the Yellows.
Anyway, now it is time for... I once had an really, truly terrible cleaner called Kath, and she was the inspiration for my catapult. She no longer works in the lab. I fired her, literally. Nan was annoyed at having to tidy herself, so I hired a new cleaner, and we have a new use for the catapult. We now use it to fire prize pods across that tank, and we call it the catapult. Teams, it's your job to get as many of those prize pods across this tank of hideous gunge into the prize zone beyond. The winner will be the team with the most prize pods, and you will win all the prizes written on those pods. Importantly, each team has a teammate in the tank. Your job is very important. It's up to you to try and intercept the opposing team's prize pods as they arc gracefully across the tank. The prizes up for grabs today include a cargo copter, a Tomb of Doom game, and a radio-controlled spider. So plenty of stuff you want to win. Yellow team, you're in the lead, so you have a 5-second advantage. When you hear the first siren, you can start. Reds, you wait for the second siren before you start. You have some time to get as many prize pods across the tank and into the prize zone as you possibly can, and that some time starts now!
The Yellows taking the slow and steady approach. Will it pay off? No. And the Reds are off as well now. And immediately the Reds have scored. All the hard work and sacrifice the Yellows went through to gain the advantage in this game, and it's gone in seconds. 8 seconds to be precise. Frantic firing taking place. Hang on a minute, the prize area now littered with pods. And the Reds just scored. The Reds back in the lead for this tit-for-tat, chess-like cat-and-mouse game of prize pod slinging. Both teams loading, aiming and firing in unison. But we see the difference between the sides today. The Yellows lacking the accuracy needed at this level. The pressure of the occasion possibly a factor here. Ooh, a change of tactics. The Yellows are firing Hands of Glory, as they're sometimes known. Will the Yellows' plan prove to be their undoing or a masterstroke? Oh, a great shot from the Yellow team. No side giving up now, really digging deep. Will the Yellows do the impossible and prove the doubters wrong? Will they manage? Oh no, I think we may have our answer.
Time is up! Everybody, cease fire. Now is the moment of reckoning. We must find out who has won. Lab rats, are we ready with the figures? For the yellow team, how many do we have? For the yellows, 3 prize pods. For the reds, what have we got? 5, 6 for the reds. That means it's a red victory. It is a red victory. And now we must find out, red team, what you've won. Ready, Ninja, now? A Tomb of Doom. Yeah. A flying UFO. A land yacht. A lunar eclipse bedroom light. A butterfly garden. A puzzle cube. For each of you. Those are your prizes, Reds. You're taking those home. Yellows. The thing is, let's, we should probably find out what you would have won, but you've not. Transforming ball. Yeah. Each of you, you'd have loved that. You'd have taken it home, played with it, would have been great. A Tomb of Doom. Oh, that would probably have been your favourite had you taken them home with you. Butterfly Garden. Oh, yeah. That would have been nice also. But the thing is, they kind of are your prizes, and briefly, you will own them, treasure them, and take joy from them. Then, before you leave the lab, you're going to blow them to bits, because it's time for B-Day Goes Bang! Came back at the last minute. Abby, was it you in the tank?
Yeah.
Stopping the... You were a demon out there. Nothing got past you at all. That was astonishing. Well done. All these prizes coming home with you. Over here, yellows, I'm so sorry you led all the way through, and then in that last game, it just didn't go your way. I'm sorry. But as, consolation, you get to blow them to bits, and you get to follow me. On the walk of shame, here we go. Yep. Don't. I'm all right. It's them that need you. It's them, not me. They're the ones with them. Come on, team. Let's get it done. Yellows, you were a great team all the way through. You led all the way through, and it went wrong for you at the very last minute. So well played, team. Thanks for coming in. Let's lift the plunger and get this done. You know the drill. Plunger up. OK, lift it up. Hold it. All right. Audience, let's give them a countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's got rid of all the pesky luggage. Get it? So that is the end of the show. It has been fun learning all about floating today, but the work doesn't stop there for me. Oh, no, I'm straight off to investigate the buoyancy effect in a nice warm bath with my favourite book. I'll be working solidly for at least another hour, or until the water gets cold. I'll see you next time!
Hey, I'm Sonali with all the latest stories in 60 seconds. First, the woman caught dumping a cat in a bin has said she's really sorry. Lola the cat was trapped for 15 hours before she was found. Mary Bell says she couldn't explain why she did it, but never meant to upset Lola or her owners. After X Factor bosses admitted using technology to make contestants' voices sound better on the show, Nizran decided to ask last year's runner-up Ollie Murs what he thought about it all, and he agrees with lots of you and says playing with people's voices just isn't fair. NASA astronauts are doing their bit to help the 33 miners trapped underground in Chile. The men could be stuck down there for months, so astronauts who are used to living in small places in space are giving them advice on how to cope. And Prime Minister David Cameron and his wife Samantha have named the family's latest addition. Their new baby girl is called Florence Rose Enderlion. The last name is Cornish because she was born in Cornwall yesterday. That's it. More at 6:25. Bye.
Hello! Animals at Work coming up next, but right now the saga continues. Should we or should we not ban fashion?
Ian?
What?
I've got it right this time. Woo, baby! This is the one.
This is not the one.
What?
You look confused. You look ridiculous. Fashion, are we banning it or are we not? First one is from Arizona. You alright?
Howdy, partners.
That's the girl, not the place.
Oh.
I don't think Dodge should be banned because it's a way... Dodge fashion should be banned because it's a way to express yourself. And Dodge, you really need a makeover. But I like your floppy ears.
Oh, well, thanks. Which pair?
Oh, funny. But I think, do you know what, mate? I think you should ban your floppy ears.
What? No!
You're like an aeroplane.
Oh, Ian.
Hey, mate, I can say that because you're always handing out advice to people, telling people how they should look. How they should look. How they should look.
No, darling, not velvet. Silks. Silks. Elephant, your nose is too big. It's huge, lovey. You need some concealer to hide it. Get this elephant some concealer. Go. Go. What? Oh, no, not stripes. Stripes, always stripes. You need some polka dots. Go and get some polka dots. Scaly skin. Moisturize. Moisturize, lovey. What? No, not flying. Flying's last season, Dodo.